Recently, I've had a couple of friends ask me how to meditate. So I'm going to just share a couple of things that I have learned to be very helpful for me personally. Personally, I think meditation is a great tool to help bring you back to the present moment, because the mind tends to go all over the place. It wants to linger in places of the past, think about past events, and then this will cause you to feel a lot of shame or guilt or just overall helplessness, because you cannot change things that have occurred in the past. Another thing that the mind likes to do is to anticipate the future. A lot of the times it's thinking about or worrying about or being anxious about what could happen in the future, which is actually very unhelpful because we can't predict the future. And because our mind is constantly going between the past and the future, we barely ever focus on where we should be focusing on, which is the present moment. And that's where everything is actually happening. And if we're not being present, we lose the ability to actually influence the future because we're not being in the present. One thing that people don't really talk about is the practicality of meditation. What's really important is to remember to use this method when you're actually stressed, when you're actually in a situation. I think making it applicable in everyday life is important. Is more important than just sitting down in a quiet room, because life doesn't always give you the luxury of being in a quiet space. So, if you're having a road rage moment, if you're being triggered, or if you're feeling angry, this is a really great method because you can do that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. The length of your practice is not as important as the consistency of your practice. So I recommend you starting with just 10 minutes, even 5 minutes a day. Start short, but do it consistently. Doing the same practice every day around the same time in the same location is also helpful. As your mind becomes a little more tame, you can start adding more time onto your practice. There is a method called Anapana, which means the observation of the breath. The best tools to focus on is the breath, because the breath is always with us no matter where we go. Find a place where you are not likely to be disturbed. Close your eyes and start focusing on your breath. Don't try to control the speed, the amount of air you're pulling in and expelling out. If you're breathing fast, slow, shallow, deep, just let it be. Place your focus on this area below your nostrils and right above your upper lip, this area right here. And try to feel your breath coming in and out, and try to feel the air brushing against this area as you inhale and exhale. At first, you probably won't feel anything. That's very normal. And at first, your mind is probably going to try and distract you as much as it could. And that's just what the mind is used to doing, because for all of our lives, we've always kind of been controlled by the mind. So now, all of a sudden, you're telling it to be quiet on your terms. The mind doesn't really know how to do that. It's never really had the practice. And if it happens, don't be frustrated, don't be alarmed. It's completely normal. All you have to do is to not hold on to anything that's happening that your mind is trying to distract you with, and pull your attention back to this area right here. And just keep trying to feel your breath coming in and out and brushing against this area. And after some practice, you will become a lot more sensitive. Your body will become a lot more sensitive. Your mind will be become a lot sharper. It will be able to converge its focus in one spot, which is this area, and you'll be able to feel the hairs on your skin moving as you breathe in and out. So this is Anapana. This is the first thing I like to do when I sit down to practice for maybe the first couple of minutes. There is another method that I think is also extremely easy that you can also practice once the mind is a little more quiet. After maybe a few minutes of Anapana, you can start adding this other method into your daily practice. Sit there with your eyes closed and start really using your senses. The sight is one of the senses, but because we spend so much of our life relying on our sight, it's best to exclude the sight for a few minutes of the day and rely on the other senses that are being underutilized. So close your eyes and start really listening, and listen without any identification, because then you will be thinking. You don't want to be thinking, you want to just be observing. Try to pick up the subtle sounds, the click of the clock or the humming of the air conditioning. And same thing, use your smell. So you can start picking up smells that you don't normally pay attention to. You will be surprised, you can smell a lot more things than when you are just going about your day. So that's the hearing, the smell, and also the tactile sense. You're not going to be touching things, but you can feel your skin coming into contact with your clothes, or your buttocks coming into contact with the surface that you're sitting on. You know, you can feel the subtle movement of the air. So yes, utilize your senses and observe what is happening around you. That's a really nice way to pay attention to the little things that you might normally miss. It's a great way to just kind of fall into the moment and appreciate the sounds and the smells and the feelings that your body is having. I like this method because it's energizing. You're sharpening your senses and you're less likely to fall asleep, as a lot of the times meditation can cause some sleepiness if you're sleep deprived, and this is a good way to wake you up in a very quiet way. So try those two methods to start. Those are very simple. I do think that these two are very practical. You can practice them wherever you are. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Peace.